I'm gonna bite his off.
I'm 100% in for this.
Today is gonna be the best day ever. I love sunshine, I love butterflies, but more than anything, I love Doug.
Hey! Shut the up!
So we got another talking dog movie, but this time they're like, let's take a talking dog movie and make it super mature. And that's what we got. We got Strays. Okay, so I heard about this movie back when the trailer came out of nowhere. I was literally like watching YouTube one day, and I'm subscribed to the studio Universal on YouTube. So I get like a lot of their like clips or their trailers, and just randomly one day I see the trailer for Strays, and the thumbnail was just like rated R, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's see. So then I watch it, and I immediately went, I have to see this. And I kept looking at when this was coming out because they wouldn't say it until eventually they said it was in August. I'm like, all right, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that in August. And I will say this. This movie is about a dog named Reggie who's voiced by Will Ferrell. And his owner named Doug, who is played by Will Forte, is basically a beard guzzling complete jerk who just takes money from his mom. He does nothing but, pleasure all day. And, he's a bit of a jerk. So one day he just says, you know what, I've had enough of this dog, even though I'll get to what I'm about to say later. So he eventually Reggie becomes a stray. And then he meets Bug, voiced by Jamie Foxx, who basically says, oh, dude, being a stray is awesome. Like, come on, you can do whatever you want. To then eventually, Bug introduces his friends, who is, I forget their names, but it's two dogs voiced by Isla Fisher and Randall Park. And the four of them, they start like living the life of a stray, and they're like having a blast and all that stuff. But then Reggie comes to a realization. He's just like, you know what? That means my owner does not love me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do I'm going to take away the one thing that he loves most. I'm going to go find him. I'm going to go back to his place, and I'm going to remove a certain thing that men have. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole plot of the movie. I will say this. You may or may not know this about me, but I am a huge dog lover. I'm one of those people that if I see like I'm watching, like I could be watching like an animal show, and I see like owners like almost abusing their animals and their dogs. I'm the one going, you need to take that dog away from them. Like, get that dog a better home. Come on. You just got to. And I'll be honest, the first 10 minutes of you setting up that Doug is this huge, complete jerk, and he's almost abusing Reggie, I'm just going, just please skip this part because I'm about to cry. I'm that kind of guy. I don't cry typically all the time, but when you show me a dog and I see them get abused, I'll lose it. And, but one thing is, this is a shock comedy, and this was very funny, but very, very, very rated R, and they let you know right off the bat that this is very rated R. you have these dogs swearing a lot. There's a lot of sexual stuff that they do. There's sometimes drug things they do. Sometimes alcohol stuff. So it is very much a rated R film, but it's a shock comedy where it's going, how can we keep shocking people? And not necessarily from the language, but there are stuff in this movie mainly from like the sexual stuff. Like, there is one part in this movie that I went, wow, they are doing this? Like, I cannot believe they got away with this. All I will say is that it involves the dogs getting keys. That's all I'm going to say. You have to go see the movie to see what I'm talking about. And this part was in the trailer. The big drug thing in this movie, it's in the trailer, is them finding shrooms and they start eating it. And that's a funny scene in and of itself. But it then continues into something you're like, okay, that's kind of cute. And then the aftermath happens and you're like, oh my God. That's funny, but that's terrible. That's terrible. So this very much is a shock comedy. It reminds me a lot of like movies like Sausage Party, where that was a pretty poorly CG animated film, but that was a shock comedy. And, you know, you had all these food saying these swear words. You had all these like sexual innuendos. You had, you know, drugs, you had alcohol. And then the ending of that film, oh boy. Let's just say you're not going to eat for a while until after watching that scene. And if you've seen Sausage Party, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Luckily Strays doesn't do something like that film does, but it's in the same like zone as a shock comedy. How can we keep shocking people? And I don't mind shock comedies if they have a purpose to it. And if a joke sticks, if a joke works, if the way they write the joke works, then yay. In this case, they do it. The jokes work, everything is good, and I liked it. Now, something that I will point out. When it comes to swearing, I'm not one of those like, oh my God, I hate hearing that. Like, it's so foul. Like, you know, like almost like a Tarantino film where he has to say like a swear word every almost 30 seconds. This film, unfortunately, has a ton of swearing where they do it like every scene, almost every cut, every different shot angle. They say a swear word, and I don't mind that they do that, but it felt like to an extent that, oh, we're getting an R rating anyway, so let's just fill this out with swears. It reminds me a lot of the 83 movie Christine, which is really good. But that film's violence is honestly not that bad. It's the swearing that makes it rated R. And in fact, that's what they had to do because PG-13 didn't come out then. It wasn't out yet. So they were afraid to get a PG rating. So they're like, let's add in a lot of swearing to make this rated R. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's still a very, very enjoyable movie. But with this case, they're like, all right, we know we're going to get an R rating, so let's just throw this to the brim with tons of swearing. And at a certain point, sometimes it works because it's the way they say a joke. But then at times it's just like, really? You're just saying that for the sake of saying that? Okay, fine. But, you know, overall, I did enjoy this movie. The end is very much, it was like, okay, this is what I thought was going to happen. And wow, that was a little bit more graphic than I thought it was going to be. and I guess and very satisfying. And, yeah, so this is a shock comedy. It's not just a shock comedy. It's not just about, you know, can we get these dogs that are voiced by, you know, some very great actors and comedians, just have them swear like a sailor. It's not just that, but there's also a lot of heart in this movie. Like some of the dogs, they open up more, and it's just like, wow, okay, that's very sad. And so there's a lot underneath this movie that I wasn't expecting, because I was thinking it's just going to be an hour and a half of just dogs swearing and they're getting from point A to point B, and that's pretty much what I thought they were going to do. But actually, there's a little bit more to it than that. Yes, they're doing the point A to point B premise, but there's more underneath that than I thought there was, which really surprised me, and I was thoroughly entertained by it. I do understand why they're like, this isn't very good, but, you know, I would definitely say this is, if you are very sensitive to language, very sensitive to sexual stuff, you are definitely not going to like this movie. But if you kind of like those shock comedies, and also you kind of want to hear Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx swear like sailors, or I'm sorry, if you want to hear Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Isla Fisher, and Randall Park swear like sailors, this is it. This is the movie. This is the movie, because they do not hold back. And I also love how all four of them, they absolutely 100% committed to the script. And, you know, Jamie Foxx, you know, he's done a lot of comedy stuff, but Will Ferrell, I think with his comedy, he tends to kind of be more like a man-child in his movies, which kind of irritates me a little bit. But with this one, it's just like, you know what, I'm just going to voice this dog, this cute dog, and I'm just going to swear. Let's just go. And I really liked the movie, despite the faults that I had. I would give this an average. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I would definitely rewatch this again, but I would say this is a fun, I would say, party movie. Definitely probably not a movie you would want to watch with your parents. It depends on how cool your parents are. But yeah. This is definitely, it's not a film for everyone, but you know what? It was very funny and very enjoyable. And again, very, very, very rated R.
He says, that's how I know I won the game.
Hey, honey, you ever been with an Afghan before?
I don't think so, but thank you.
Take it from me, kid. He left your ass.
No, that can't be right.
You are officially a stray.